Many more?
How many more?
How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
I can't take this commercial. How many more?
How many more houses
The media, the president, celebrities, everybody's making their case. Incredibly hypocritical videos and making their case, blaming guns for violence. Others are making a push to get a step closer to achieving the progressive dream of banning guns. They are banking on the fact that in the wake of a horrible tragedy, while emotions are still raw, that American gun owners will roll over and give up their right to bear arms. You know, do it for the kids. The Blaze is the website that I started right after we went to Washington, D.C. The next day we opened up the doors of the Blaze. And we are about to do some massive expansion on this. And one of the best things that I think we do is we conduct surveys from time to time and ask you questions in a different way. We conducted a survey of 106 questions. And it started out, I think, as 50 questions, and then we had you add the other. And judging by the size of the response, it appears the administration may have miscalculated the will of the opponent. Before we mentioned the survey today on radio, there was over 4,876,394 responses. And hearing the results take into account the typical Blaze reader is not the stereotypical hick gun owner. You start to look at this picture, and people in Washington should be afraid. These are people who read an average, according to them, of 12 books a year. They take firearms safety classes. They serve in the military or have immediate family members in the military. They have a home, a spouse, kids. These are people who use facts to make decisions, not feelings. A few of the answers got slam dunk results, yes results. Like this one. Do you believe in the Second Amendment? That's the only question that received 100% yes. 99% also understood that the Second Amendment is not about hunting or sports. It's to protect the people from a tyrannical government. The left today will mock that idea. But over the last 100 years, most of the world's biggest atrocities came from the hands of ruthless dictators who made sure to disarm the civilian population, making their rise to power easier first. A few of the slam dunk questions were our audience, at least. Again, almost 5 million responses. They were 99%. Will an assault rifle ban prevent violent crime? The answer, no, by 99%. As we showed you this is based on facts. Next question, would you surrender your Second Amendment rights in exchange for a promise from the government to protect you from all harm? Answer, no, not so much, 99%. Should the UN or any other foreign entity have any say about the American gun rights or the Second Amendment? No, 99%. Should a gun owner and their addresses be published? 99%. No. Liberal websites posted the names of New York City gun owners. These are ones who, the gun owners in New York City, you have to go through an amazing 1 year, if not 18-month process to be able to get your gun. They decided to put all of their names and addresses up on the website with the headline, "Here are the a-holes who own guns in New York City." All of a sudden, because you, really? As if doing something perfectly legal justifies being associated with the murder of children. This is the level progressives have to stoop to because they have absolutely no argument. Even former New York Times editor Bill Keller said, I don't think I even would have done that. Quote, when you're going to make a sizable population of the law-abiding citizens feel violated, you have to ask yourself, what's offsetting the gain? In this case, I think not much. Let me ask you a question. Should we publish the names of those who get abortions? I mean, it's legal. Should we release the names of gay marriage households? Why not? Here's one. Should we release the names of those on welfare and unemployment? No, I'm sorry. Should we demonize them and release the names of those who are on welfare and unemployment, and then release their names and addresses? If the answer to those is no, why? Go back to the why. Common sense tells you nothing good will come of that. It's no every time. The radical left is not interested in common sense. They are interested in agenda. But Blaze readers are not interested in that. Many of the questions in the polls were split. They indicate a willingness to exercise common sense. 51% not a member of the NRA. 53% were for subsidizing some form of basic gun instruction for first-time buyers. 34% said the process of buying a gun does not make them feel like a criminal, which indicates a willingness to at least have some checks in place. Interestingly, given 88% who took the poll, they own a gun, and they're willing to have a background check. They're reasonable. But they are also well aware of what is coming. 91% believe that President Obama will use an executive order to enact a gun ban if Congress will not. 89% are worried that gun confiscation will be attempted before the end of this year. 64% have purchased ammunition in the past 3 months, and if you haven't done it yet, you should. 45% have purchased a firearm in the past 6 months. 87% of non-gun owners taking the poll said they'll consider buying one in the very near future. May I suggest you do so now? 98% say they will not willingly surrender their firearms if confiscation is ordered. That's the sticking point. That's the flashpoint I believe this president wants to have. A brave new world is coming. And there are two very, very different ways of solving things. One side sees more individual liberty. The other sees more government. Mayor Bloomberg just decided over the weekend that too many people are addicted to painkillers. Okay, this is the guy who bans guns because it's the right thing to do. Now he's banning painkillers because it's the right thing to do. His solution is making patients have to, using his words, suffer a little before you get your pain meds. Something else is going on. Profiling. Remember, we can't profile Muslims getting on planes or people wearing droopy pants or hoodies. But the NYPD, New York, now wants to profile for possible school shooters and stop it before it happens. Well, welcome to the Minority Report and the Future Crimes Division. By the way, they want to profile you by monitoring every word you type on the internet and any other online device. As a whole, Americans have been willing to tolerate small losses of freedom for the so-called greater good. But eventually, they will reach a tipping point. The American people have just about had enough. And I fear that we are closer to that point, as I said before the election. We are closer to that point since any time, except maybe 1859. Back in a minute.